Hi everyone. I'm going to do a reaction video to Phil's reaction to Nintendo's E3 presentation of 2015. I was going to try and make this video one of the in-a-minutes I usually do, but there's so much here that irks me that I just needed to sit down and take it apart. Without further ado, let's begin.
Alright, hello everyone, and welcome. This is my Nintendo press conference, digital conference, whatever you want to call it, for E3 2015 recap and reactions video. So I thank you for watching, whether you are live on stream or you are watching this on demand on my YouTube channel, DSP Gaming, and let us begin. There I am. Wow. Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to my recap and reactions to Nintendo this year. Now, let's preface this because I do have about a little over 2 pages here of stuff to talk about from the Nintendo press conference.
That's weird, because I have 2 pages myself of notes about your video. They all say I must not fuck sheep.
And I want to preface this with a big asterisk, okay? And the reason I'm going to do that is because I want to make it very clear that Nintendo's strategy, Nintendo's marketing, Nintendo's E3 game plan has been very different from everyone else's for several years now. We're talking at least 3 years. Nintendo has only done a digital-only press conference, meaning...
Alright, I'm speeding up Phil here. He's just going to explain to you what a digital conference is in comparison to a physical conference, I guess. Which, I don't know, if you're 3, I think you would know the difference.
Fanboy. I would love to hear how many people could possibly say that Nintendo had a good press conference or digital presentation at E3 this year. You're going to see what I mean as we go through everything about the press conference, alright? So, the first thing that I want to explain, because if you didn't see the press conference, which I know many of you didn't, you're watching this video to hear my recap.
No, Phil, I'm watching your video to see your reaction, and it's not in the way you want me to watch your video either.
You have to understand there was a running theme throughout the press conference that both disturbed, appalled, and scared people, alright? I shit you not. There were Muppets on the press conference.
Muppets? Won't somebody think of the children?
Now you might say, whoa, Kermit the Frog was the host? Kermit the Frog here, and I'm here to present Kingdom Hearts 3, yay! No.
By the way, I guarantee you that Phil's going to do a hell of a lot more arm waving than Kermit does in a normal episode of The Muppet Show. I didn't do the math, I apologize, guys. Next time I'll do it.
That's not what I mean. I actually mean that they had puppets that looked almost like Muppets, okay, of Iwata, the CEO of Nintendo, Miyamoto, you know, the legendary game designer, and Reggie Fils-Aimé, the head of CEO of Nintendo of America. They were creepy, they made no fucking sense, and they showed up multiple times during the conference where they would do weird skits. Like, at one point, they showed the puppet of Iwata is sitting at, it looks to be a real desk, like maybe it's Iwata's real desk at Nintendo offices, with a bunch of bananas sitting on his lap. And he's just sitting there like this with the bananas in his hands, and he turns to the camera like this. And then it cuts away. What the fuck is that supposed to be? Like, huh? You know, there's one where there's Reggie Fils-Aimé on one side here, and a Miyamoto on this side, the puppets, not the real ones, and then you got Iwata dancing in front of them like this, da, 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 and then it cuts away, and you're like, what the fuck am I watching? And I hate to say it, I really do hate to say it, because as you guys know, I am a fan of Nintendo. How do I say this? Please understand, I am a fan of Nintendo. I grew up with Nintendo in the 80s. I grew up with Nintendo in the 90s. I don't know what the fuck they're doing anymore. Like, I can't even kind of justify why this was in the press conference, what it was supposed to be. Maybe, oh, it's whimsical, right? Well, first of all, you copied the Muppets. Your puppets look like Muppets, like straight out of the, you know, the old school Muppet movies and the Muppet Show.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Let's skip over Phil blathering for a bit, too.
But the best comparison that I can say, and I hate to say it, it's kind of ironic and almost opportune.
Do you mean apropos, Phil? I'm pretty sure you mean apropos. And I also have the idea that this is going to be Alanis Morissette levels of irony you're going to be referring to.
That they had puppets of the top guys at Nintendo. Because that's how I think of them these days. They're a bunch of Muppets. They're people who basically live in their own world. They're another dimension from us. They don't listen to feedback from actual gamers. They don't listen to feedback from the consumers who buy stuff that aren't the real gamers but maybe just buy into their trends. They really don't listen to anyone. They just basically live with their heads up their asses. They think that no matter what they do, it's the best decision for their company, even when their company continues to lose money. Even though this year I believe they did actually make some profit, but they lost money for quite a long time there.
Way to go back on your evidence that they're losing money, Phil. I have evidence to support that they're losing money, except, oh, they actually made money this year. But don't worry about that, because they're losing money, guys. I also hate the term real gamers. Like, what, you're too hardcore? Nintendo caters to the hardcore audience, Phil?
And it just blows my fucking mind that, you know what I mean? Like, what an analogy. The leadership of Nintendo is a bunch of Muppets. And that would be why the company makes such stupid fucking decisions. Because they're fucking puppet idiots.
You know what, Phil? I'm going to go ahead and fix your metaphor for you. You either feel that the fans are Muppets, allowing Nintendo to stick their hands up the audience asses and let them control them around and say, this is what you like, this is what you need. Or you feel that Nintendo is brainless, like a puppet, who needs to be controlled from an external source, but that wouldn't fit because they're just doing their own thing by their own volition. So, yeah, your analogy fails horribly.
Yes, that actually makes perfect sense, okay?
No, it doesn't make perfect sense. Thanks.
So now let's actually go into the real conference of what was covered, okay?
Wow, and it only took like 6 minutes to get here, too. Thanks, Phil.
The first game that was shown and talked about in this conference was Star Fox, alright? So they start showing actual gameplay of the new Star Fox on the Wii U. So they're playing, immediately they show new stuff, that's exactly what you need to do. You're showing a new game, show me why I need it. So they're showing the R-Wing flying around in 60 frames per second, pretty decent graphics, although I'll say this, I don't think the graphics were too revolutionary. Like, watching this conference, the graphics were still a little blocky. It almost reminded me of, like, wow, it's maybe GameCube level graphics. It didn't look next-gen to me, which the Wii U is supposed to be a next-gen system. Didn't look amazing to me, okay? But it's flying around, it's doing whatever.
Alright, it starts to get downhill around 7 minutes in, so let's just skip to that. And action.
Then they proceed to show, and this is what I mean about this press conference. Are you showing me games, or is this some kind of a documentary on Nintendo? They show Miyamoto at a shrine in Japan. Now, you have to understand, you have to have a cultural reference to understand this.
Phil explaining other nations' culture is like having a mass murderer explain the benefits of humanitarianism. It just doesn't work.
Japan, they have these shrines throughout their country which have to do with this Shinto religion, which is kind of not even really a religion but a spirituality in a lot of ways, and the Japanese are into this stuff. So this shrine, even though it might not be a super religious shrine, could have a lot of cultural significance to the Japanese. And Miyamoto's there, he says, oh, I live only like a block away from here, and I did that on purpose because I like to come here and surround myself with the shrine and see myself surrounded. And that's where I got the inspiration for Star Fox, the new one, because the game is about being surrounded by content and always being able to look around.
Wrong, 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 wrong. Wrong, 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 wrong.
First of all, Phil, Miyamoto never said anything that he came up with the new idea of Star Fox at that shrine. He said he came up with the inspiration of flying through arches that look like the Shinto gates, or have a resemblance to Shinto gates, from that area that he visits all the time. You know, you fly underneath the arches and the buildings and stuff to pick up the golden rings or power-ups. That's what he was influenced by at that shrine. What he became motivated to make a new Star Fox on the Wii U is because there's a gyro in the gamepad that can mimic the actions of using a fighter control stick in a jet plane. He also came up with the characters of Star Fox from the show Thunderbirds. It's amazing to me how you sat through the Nintendo event and all that information just bounced off your thick fucking skull and you couldn't even get your facts straight. So, you know, once again, just to rub it in a little bit more.
You're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong.
And I'm like, no, you did not sit at this Shinto temple and get a revolutionary idea for the new Star Fox, Mr. Miyamoto. I'm sorry, but I'm calling you out. You're a liar. That's not what happened. What you're trying to do is do some kind of fancy cultural thing so that Americans will be like, oh, it's something cultural. That's neat and cute. No, you designed it in a game fucking studio like everyone else, the same ideas as everyone else. You designed it like everything else. Star Fox was not imagined at a Shinto shrine. He's so full of shit, and he's just trying to integrate culture into this montage, which is bullshit. It's fluff. It doesn't belong at the E3 press conference. You know what I mean?
So apparently now Phil's a mind reader, and I'd actually have more faith in Psycho Mantis being able to read my mind than Phil. And I don't know why Phil is so against finding inspiration to make a video game in elsewhere besides the video game developer studio, considering how he came up with the idea of the King of Hate while he was taking a shit. And God forbid we learn about other cultures. You know, God forbid that he explains to us how his faith or everything that affects him affected the games that we like and love and play. I don't know, just it strikes me as odd. And in case this hasn't hit you yet, Phil, their presentations from 2012 onward are all about Nintendo's identity and their heritage. If they feel if it's important enough to be shown to people at E3, then who the fuck are you to say that it doesn't belong?
So, he's doing this, he's talking about it, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, all right, whatever. And you literally can fast forward through it because it's almost like 10 to 15 minutes. Okay, it's like, what is
Oh, Phil meant fast forward through Nintendo's part, not Phil's part. Whoops.
So he starts talking, oh, tonight the theme of our presentation will be transformation. Even though, you know, we're going to be talking about games. We're going to be talking about a lot of things. For example, Nintendo is going to come to theme parks soon. We'll be part of Universal Studios. And we've announced that we're going to be part of mobile devices. We announced this last year that Nintendo games will be coming to mobile a lot. And then he goes, oh, and Nintendo's new console, the NX, will be revolutionary, but that's coming next year. We're not going to give you a lot of information about that stuff. We're just going to talk about that next year, but rest assured we will. And then that's it. Then they cut away. And it's kind of like, you know, so basically what Reggie Fils-Aimé is admitting is that Nintendo has failed as a game-making company, right? We can't make games that people will buy anymore and that will actually, you know, sell and make profit so we can be a company that will do that. Now we have to be theme parks, and we have to make mobile games, which isn't our primary market, and we have to, you know, push to the next console because obviously the Wii U was a flop. So
or it could be called diversification, Phil. If they're a company and all companies seek to make money, they're going to try new avenues of revenue. Ta-da! Good job with that business degree, by the way, fucker. Alright, let's skip through the rest of his shit and get to more of his bullcrap.
There's a huge segment, I shit you not. It's over 10 minutes long. It's about amiibos.
Dun, dun, dun.
You know, I should start the amiibo counter here, because he says it about 4 billion times after this, but I fast forward through some more of his clips later on, and I don't feel like going through and making an error of plus or minus 2, so screw it. Take a shot every time he says amiibo, and if you don't die by the end of the film, he didn't say it enough.
So out of their, you know, it was only about 40 minutes, their digital presentation. 1/4 of it was amiibos. And let me tell you something, it looks very unsettling when you've got Reggie Fils-Aimé, who actually is a big, physically imposing person in real life. Those who don't know, he's actually a big dude.
For you.
He's sitting there with a toy of, like, Bowser, with another full-grown man sitting there with a toy, and they're sitting there going like this with their toys. So, here's the new amiibo. Tell me what the amiibo's going to integrate. And then they show, you know, fucking Mario Party or some shit. Oh, yeah, the amiibo will integrate this and that. And everyone who's there who cares about games is like, what the fuck? Like, I understand amiibos are a fad. You know what I mean? And I understand this is E3. This is Electronic Entertainment Expo, not sell overhyped toys expo. Electronic Entertainment Expo.
Considering how amiibos are an accessory to the Wii U, an electronic device made for entertainment, they are more than allowed to showcase it.
So talk about the electronics. I know your amiibos exist. I can't get away from them. I hear about them on the internet every day. I hear about them on my stream chat every day. I hear about them on TV.
Considering your life and your job, and I'm using the heaviest quotes I can there, revolves around you playing games, of course you're going to hear about amiibos every goddamn day. What do you expect? It's not Nintendo's fault, it's your fault.
They're the big thing, you were successful selling a toy that 2 other companies sold before you because you jumped on a bandwagon of popularity instead of doing something original.
YouTube Let's Players in it for the money.
I get that, but I don't need to hear about your amiibos at your digital press conference. I need to hear about your games. Just saying. Alright, so next.
Alright, I'm gonna skip through Phil talking about the new 3DS Zelda. He seems interested by it. He likes the idea of the new suits and everything. He's a little shocked that it's only 3 people instead of 4. Whatever. Aren't you glad you tuned in to Phil to get your information on E3 instead of, I don't know, the official channel? Now we're gonna move on to Hyrule Warriors.
The next game. There will be a 3DS version of Hyrule Warriors that not only will include all the characters from the original game on Wii U last year, as well as the DLCs for the Wii U, but they will also include new characters from the Wind Waker that will be exclusive to the 3DS version. So, a lot of people actually complained about Hyrule Warriors and said, this is the kind of game that would do really well on the Nintendo 3DS, but they put it out for the Wii U, which honestly, not a lot of people rushed out to buy, right? And everyone, way more people have 3DSs worldwide than Wii U's. So they said, I wish it would be handheld, so Nintendo gave them what they wanted. It's coming out.
Wait. Didn't you just go on a diatribe about how Nintendo doesn't listen to their fan base? And now you just said that because people asked for Hyrule Warriors that would have been better suited on the 3DS to come to the 3DS, Nintendo listened and put it on the 3DS. Can you make up your own fucking mind?
They really don't listen to anyone.
We're gonna skip through a little bit of his Metroid segment.
And people really liked the Metroid Prime series, like, so much so that just recently Nintendo released the Metroid Prime trilogy, right, on Nintendo Wii U, so you could replay those games because it was very hard to find the physical copies of those games anymore.
So this is another example of Nintendo not listening to the fan base and making sure that they're happy by releasing something to gather up all very hard to find games and put it into one area. Good job, Nintendo. I can see why you have the reputation you have now. Excellent.
They really don't listen to anyone. And you got a series. I don't know. I've actually not actually played Metroid Prime. So I don't know, if it will be, anything about it. I don't know. But a lot of people are just pissed off that they gave it the Metroid Prime name and they're saying this is not Metroid Prime, we want a real Metroid Prime. Okay.
Thank God he's never played a Metroid Prime game, by the way.
Fair enough.
And no, I'm not looking forward to his Patreon goal of playing it either. Alright, we're gonna skip through his Fire Emblem announcement.
Would not be surprised if that makes it to the States, considering that Fire Emblem usually does pretty decently on Nintendo consoles.
As opposed to Sony's consoles? Does Fire Emblem sell better on the Xbox than it does Nintendo? Now we're gonna move on to SMT Cross Fire Emblem.
The whole next trailer. It was just a trailer, no gameplay. I didn't know what the fuck I was watching. Like, didn't have a clue. And everything was in Japanese, the voice, the text, everything was Japanese. So it's like, fucking anime-looking girls with swords flying around, people with weapons, and anime, crazy anime, oh god, oh, it's like out of control, like, what the fuck, Jesus Christ, I wish I gotta look away from the screen for a minute, because you're gonna have a seizure if you keep watching. And finally it ends.
Remember, this is the man who said, I don't use gimmicks, I don't use gimmicks.
And all it says at the end is, Japanese, F-E. Japanese. And I sat there, I don't have a fucking clue what I just saw. Like, I have no idea what I'm watching. I have absolutely no idea what's going on right now. What is this? So come to find out, I guess this game is actually Shin Megami Tensei Cross Fire Emblem.
Yay, another SMT game where I can play it for 200 parts and bore the fuck out of my audience. Woo! By the way, Phil, there was a trailer released 2 months ago on the official Nintendo channel showcasing this, so you would have known what that was had you paid attention to them. But since you didn't care to watch that trailer, then why would you care about what that trailer is? Just wait till it gets Americanized for your stupid brain.
This is a game that people who are into those series have been talking about for quite some time, and apparently it's actually like a very polarizing game. Some people are thinking it's going to be good, and some people are like, I don't know, this is kind of a bad idea. And I didn't know that. People had to tell me that after the conference that's what it was. I was like, I had no fucking clue watching that, what I was watching. So just imagine this, right?
Oh, here comes the average Joe Gamer explaining how the average Joe Gamer would have perceived that event.
This is the common gamer who's watching all the E3 press conferences, who doesn't know about Shin Megami Tensei, maybe knows what Fire Emblem is because they just saw the Fire Emblem trailer. You wasted about 2 to 3 minutes of their time.
Holy shit, they wasted a whole 2 minutes of their life? They will never, ever be able to replace those 2 minutes. Nintendo, shame on you. Shame on you for draining people of their livelihood by releasing trailers for games that they can't understand the language in. How dare you? Start a petition. Start a petition so Nintendo gives us all 2 minutes of our lives back through the mail. I will start that.
Because all they saw was Japanese, kanji, you know, nothing, and they have no fucking clue. This is Dear Nintendo. This is the E3 press conference. This is not Nintendo Japanese Tokyo Game Show press conference. You are trying to sell games to people who speak English. Fucking use English. Duh!
Dear Philip, this is E3. E3 is an expo to bring gamers and companies from around the world to celebrate gaming. This is not the KKK rally where only whites can participate. And you better speak American or you can get out. Can I also assume that if there was an English trailer that cropped up at the Tokyo Game Show in 2015, you would get just as angry that the poor Japanese couldn't understand what was going on in that trailer because it was in English? This is the Tokyo Game Show, not American Game Show.
But no, instead we'll put 20-minute things about Miyamoto at a shrine, and we'll have fucking Muppets dancing across the screen, instead of actually just translating shit into English so people know what game you just advertised. Okay.
Alright, fair warning. I'm going to go on a bit of a diatribe here with Phil. So if you would like to skip it, just jump to the indicated time on your screen. This is an open letter to Phil. Dear Phil, over the past year and a half, I have said many things about you. Most of it has been for humor. Much of it was exaggerated. What I'm about to say right now is neither of those things. This is how I truly feel about you now that you have shown your true colors to the world. Phil, you are a cancerous blight upon the gaming community. Your short-sighted, narrow, bigoted views are not welcomed here. I am ashamed to even share a hobby with you. As a small-minded fool, I don't expect you to understand my animosity for you, but I will tell you, anyone worthy enough of being called a human will disagree with what you just said. It is offensive, and it is insensitive. God forbid a Japanese-based company shows something in Japanese. God forbid that you couldn't understand something for 2 minutes. God forbid that someone who is revered in the industry talk about where he gets his inspiration from. Once something inconveniences you, Phil, it's the worst thing that has ever happened to you. I hope that by this time next year, you are out of a job, so you cannot spew your vile, poisonous views on anyone again. In case my message was lost on you, let me sum it up in 3 words. Go fuck yourself. Alright, we're going to skip through his review of the Xenoblade and Animal Crossing reviews. But don't worry. We're gonna stay with the Animal Crossing just a little bit longer because something crops up that Phil doesn't like.
And then they announced, oh, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Guess what? Amiibos, more Amiibos coming out for Animal Crossing, and there'll be a game called Amiibos Festival with Animal Crossing characters where you'll use your Amiibos. It's a board game. It looks like Mario Party, and it's a fucking piece of shit. And who gives a fuck besides a 5-year-old kid? So moving on.
That line that you just said, that it's a piece of shit, wouldn't it be your own view? Would it? Like, you're looking at this objectively? I'm just checking here. By the way, how many of you are drunk now that he said the word amiibo, like, I don't know, 5-7 times at this point? I hope you're not drinking hard liquor.
Yoshi's Woolly World.
We're going to skip through Yoshi's Woolly World too. He likes it because he liked Kirby's Epic Yarn, which I can't blame him for. But something crops up again that pisses him off. $10 if you can guess what it is.
And then again, amiibos, right? Everything has to be amiibos. If you get the amiibo, right? If you get the amiibo, it does nothing in the game of any use. All it does, it colors Yoshi to look like the amiibo. So if you have the Mario amiibo and you scan it into Yoshi's Woolly World, Yoshi gets a fucking Mario skin. So he has a fake mustache, he has the color scheme of Mario. Still looks like Yoshi, the body's shaped like Yoshi, but he's got Mario's color scheme. Wow, I really fucking needed that. So that was definitely worth my money to go get the Mario amiibo to get a color scheme for Mario on my character. What a waste of time, just like every fucking amiibo. And that game is coming out October 16th, 2015. So mark your calendars, mid-October, when every other game is coming out. I guess you gotta try to squeeze in with Yoshi's Woolly World.
Phil, you wouldn't just buy the Mario amiibo for that game. You would buy the Mario amiibo because it interacts with a multitude of Wii U games. That is why they are making and have made other games to interact with it. Duh. We're going to skip through Yokai Watch, we're going to skip through Paper Mario, we're going to eventually wind up on Mario Tennis. Which, you know, ooh, sports games. Phil loves those.
Alright, Mario Tennis. That's all I'm going to say about Mario Tennis, because guess what? It's Mario Tennis. The same game that comes out on every fucking Nintendo console ever. They do nothing. It's the same fucking game with a few new characters and one or two new things. I'll be honest, the graphics to me look like it's on the GameCube. They don't even look like they've jumped anything from the GameCube. It looks like basic Mario Tennis. I'm not even going to talk about it anymore because it's fucking Mario Tennis.
But during his Star Fox review, he said that the graphics were decent, but they looked like GameCube graphics. So now Mario Tennis has GameCube-looking graphics and it's crap? I don't understand the logic at all.
You know, the R-Wing flying around in 60 frames per second, pretty decent graphics. Although I'll say this, I don't think the graphics were too revolutionary. Like, watching this conference, the graphics were still a little blocky. It almost reminded me of, like, wow, it's maybe GameCube level. And so then they closed the show. The big, how do you close the show? You know what I mean? You close it with a bang, right? Well, they spend literally 20 minutes on Mario Maker. So apparently, if you're watching this, this is their big thing for the year is Mario Maker, right? So before I talk about Mario Maker, that's it. Like, that's the end of the press conference. So, going through all the games that were in the press conference, you started with Star Fox, Muppets, Amiibos, a new Zelda game that's kind of like Four Swords Adventures, right? Hyrule Warriors getting a 3DS port, Metroid Prime 4-player co-op game that's really not Metroid Prime. Fire Emblem's coming out sometime in 2016. There's a crossover Shin Megami Tensei Fire Emblem in 2016. Xenoblade Chronicles in December. That's a good one, right? A new Animal Crossing with fucking amiibos. Yoshi's Woolly World. This new Yokai that we know nothing about yet. It's coming out in December. This new Mario and Luigi game and Mario Tennis. Wow, guess what? No real announcements.
Phil, by your own admission, you just summed up all of the announcements. Star Fox, that would be one. Oh, let's see. There are new amiibos that are coming out. That'd be 2. We had Zelda on the 3DS. That's 3. Hyrule Warriors is 4. Metroid is 5. Fire Emblem is 6. The Fire Emblem crossover is 7. And, oh, here we go. Xenoblade is 8. Animal Crossing is 9. Yoshi's Woolly World is 10. Yokai is 11. Paper Mario is 12. Mario Tennis is 13. They made 13 announcements, buddy. I guess they made no announcements whatsoever.
You sat through 40-some minutes of this press conference, and nothing's really been announced. Everything you knew was already, like, we already knew about the 99% of these games. The very few that were, like, the first time announced weren't that big of a deal.
So let's see what was first announced here. Star Fox was first announced here. That's one of them. Zelda for the 3DS would be 2. The Metroid would be 3. Fire Emblem is 4. The Fire Emblem crossover, I'll skip over that because there was a trailer 2 months ago. Let's see, what else did we have? Oh, Animal Crossing, the Yokai Watch, Paper Mario, Mario Tennis. So, no, a majority of them weren't previously announced before. Good job, Philip.
So I'll be honest, you could have completely skipped Nintendo's press conference and you kind of missed nothing besides weird puppets and fucking 20-minute interviews that had nothing to do with E3. It was a really odd press conference. But now let's close it with Mario Maker.
Thank God, we're almost over.
Mario Maker. Oh, Miyamoto sits there with some other guy who apparently he's worked with for like 30 years, and they talk about, oh, this is how we made the original Mario levels. No one cares. We're here to talk about games. We're not here to talk about a documentary on Miyamoto, how he lives near a shrine, and how he made the Mario 1 levels or whatever. We're here to talk about games.
Phil, I'm going to disagree with you there. There are some people who would care. I can name Kaizo Mario players and Mario ROM hackers, for example. I would believe that they would be interested in what the guy who created the game would have to say about how he made the levels. You might be able to take away some information from the guy who made them. Just throwing that out there. Oh, no, I didn't mean you. You wouldn't take any information away. I meant other people, not you.
They barely talk about the game. They show lots of it. They show, oh, this game's cool because you can use the graphical templates from Super Mario Brothers 1, 2, and, 1, 3, and World. You cannot use Super Mario 2. Apparently, it never existed because it wasn't in there as an option that I saw. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it is in there. But keep in mind, Super Mario 2 is kind of weird because in the US, it was one game, and in Japan, it was another game. So I can understand there being almost, you know, trepidatious about doing it. They're worried that maybe people won't understand why it looks how it does. But pretty cool that they've got all the graphics of all the games. I've seen now at this point, I've seen people doing mashups, I think making hellish levels for Mario that are just fucking evil. You could also have sprites in there from other stuff. There was like sprites in there of other games and stuff that you could do in it. Don't get me wrong. I actually think that Mario Maker not only will be a good game, but will actually be one of the most creative things. The question is, will it sell like Nintendo apparently thinks it will? Because let's face it, Little Big Planet, let's shoot...
Okay, let's skip through his Little Big Planet rant. He basically points out that Mario Maker's going to fail because Little Big Planet failed to revolutionize creative content.
Building up to Mario Maker, is Nintendo saying Mario Maker is our money maker for 2015? I don't think it is. I think you're going to have a small group of people who are creative, who like to fuck around, and who want to make their own Mario levels. For them, maybe this is like a dream. Wow, I could finally make my own Mario, right?
For reference, I'm going to take a screen cap of Super Mario ROM hacks and throw it up on the screen here so you can see how many results there are, and then let's go ahead and see how many views each of those videos has. There's kind of an audience here for that. Now I'm going to take a look at Super Mario World Central, which is kind of like the headquarters for people who ROM hack, and you can see how many active users there are right now and how many there have been at the time. Keep in mind that this is a small group of people who use this tool because they want to learn how to make that tool work. It's a little hard to get going, but imagine the amount of people out there who, if given easier tools to make levels with, would jump on that. Just saying.
But outside of that small group of people, how many people want to spend $50 to $60, because we don't know the price tag, is it full 60, to get a game that's just going to be you making Mario levels? You know what I mean? Like, it's cool, there's a lot of gimmicks and cool things in it, but for me, like, that's the kind of game, I'll sit there and I'll play it for a couple hours, maybe a couple times a week, make a couple fun levels, and then I'll want to play a few levels people made, and I'll say, that was great, and I'll never play it again. Because I got other things to move on to, you know? They're like banking that this is their moneymaker. I don't think it is. I think that Miyamoto's head is so far up either in the clouds or up his own fucking ass at this point that he doesn't understand the common consumer and what they want. No one asked for Mario Maker.
No one may have asked for Mario Maker, Phil, but it's called risk. Companies have to take risks if they want to get ahead in the business. If they stagnate and stick to what they know, they're going to fail. They're going to fail and they're going to die. Much like someone's YouTube career.
Did you hear a clamoring over the years, we want to make our own Mario games, Nintendo, make it happen? No, and again, this is again me going along my same lines of thought. Nintendo does not listen to feedback. They refuse.
Nintendo refuses to listen to feedback. But I guess if they give feedback on Hyrule Warriors, then Nintendo will listen.
They refuse to listen to what the consumers want and what the gamers want. They do whatever they want. So Miyamoto, oh, it'd be nice if other people could make Mario. Woo! This is our game for the year.
Nice for Kermit the Frog to possess Phil there for a second. Skip through this crap.
And then they closed their press conference this year with an actual montage of little kids singing and or playing the Mario theme song and said, "Are you a fan of Mario? Go to this website to submit your own video and have a chance to be part of the..." Again, that's nice. It's good to stroke your own cock, Nintendo, because we all know that you think that, like, everyone still loves you, and in reality, that's not the truth. In reality, you've lost massive amounts of fandom, and the truth is that you are not number one, you're not number two, you're almost in last place when it comes to game developers at this point, and...
If they're number 3, Phil, then they're doing better than you, Mr. 4th place.
You know, it's nice that you want to try... Oh, look, little kids like Nintendo, it's so cute. It was out of place. It didn't belong in the conference. Again, when you have a 40 minutes or 45 minutes, however long the digital presentation was, to show off your stuff, and you're wasting time with interviews with Miyamoto, and kids doing music, and puppets, you know what that tells me?
It tells you that they're a fun-loving company who wants to be seen as part of your family. And it tells you that they are proud of who they are, where they came from, and how they still have a place in the world.
Once again, for like the 3rd year in a row, Nintendo had no actual content that warranted an E3 event. That they had to fill it with fluff, with bullshit, with amiibos, rather than to actually show you, here's what we've been working on. We're sorry we fucked up with the Wii, and again with the Wii U. Here's the great games that you're going to be playing in the next year.
Boy, someone's really salty over their Wii U still. I thought he threw that away. Didn't he just, like, stick to it and be a man by his word? Or did he, like, pull it out of the garbage because that was a $250 investment and he can't afford to lose $250? Oh.
No, instead it was, here's a bunch of fluff, and we'll try to shove in some game content here or there. So, you know, I hate to say it. I really hate to say it. Nintendo is not the people who they used to be. They're not. The heads of Nintendo, who at once were seen as idols and great, you know, people to look up to in the gaming industry, have fallen from their perches. And Nintendo is not a bad company, but they don't know how to make money being a gaming company anymore. And that's a shame. It's a shame that they have to go back to their same IPs over and 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 over again.
Just like you, Phil. Like your gimmicks and your refusal to listen to criticism over and over and over and over and over and
in order to make money, instead of trying to innovate or do anything outside the box that would actually interest people, right? Instead, we've got, just listen, Star Fox, Mario Maker, which is Mario, Zelda, Metroid, Fire Emblem, Xenoblade, Animal Crossing, Yoshi. Okay, Yokai Watch is a new series. Mario and Luigi, Mario Tennis, Mario Maker. One game in the entire digital event for Nintendo was something new. Everything else was a rehash, a re-release, a remake of the same shit on a new version for a new handheld or new ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
But I'll replay The Last of Us when it was ported to the PlayStation 4. That's different.
Please, Lord, someone buy Nintendo. At this point, I have to really scream. Someone buy the fuck out of the stock of Nintendo so we can have a company back that cares, that listens, that will give gamers what they want. The amiibos are fine for revenue, right? They need the revenue right now after years of losing money. Nintendo really needs to redirect to become a company of gaming again, because they will never regain their place unless they start listening, which they refuse to do. They are so culture-centric, they believe that their decisions are the best. Miyamoto thinks that Mario Maker is the best game ever, instead of listening, all right? Listen to the fucking gamers. We're tired of being treated like we don't care, like you don't care what we say. We don't, yes, it's cool that you want to sell figures to the mainstream to make revenue, but don't ignore the fandom that made you who you are, which is exactly what Nintendo is doing right fucking now. They're ignoring you and me, the gamers, and they're listening, oh, you want amiibos? Here, have a figure.
Nintendo didn't release what I wanted, so Nintendo doesn't care about anybody.
It's fucking preposterously stupid, and it pisses me the fuck off, okay?
Oh, poor Philip, it pissed you off. No. I guess Nintendo won't get their $100 a month from you when you buy games for the Wii U anymore. Oh, no.
Alright, that is it for my Nintendo recap and reactions to their press conference. Thank you for watching. and I hope that you will watch the other E3 coverage that I have done and will be doing.
Oh, I'll be watching your other videos, Phil, but not for the reasons you want me to. I'm going to be riffing the fuck out of them. Maybe not uploaded to YouTube for everyone to see, but trust me, there's going to be a lot of vitriol spewing out of my mouth for you.
Thank you, and peace out.
Oh, good job not editing out the part where you're looking away to click off. Good job. YouTube editor too hard.
I am a fan of Nintendo.
Of course.